In this video, I've explored Australia's most disturbing extinct animals. The longer you watch, the stranger and scarier they get, starting with Koolasuchus cleelandi. This amphibian lived 120 million years ago in the waters of the early Cretaceous. If we look at its structure, Koolasuchus cleelandi is like a mix of a crocodile and a salamander. It was 16 feet long and weighed approximately 1,100 pounds. Its skull, however, is a pure nightmare, 65 centimeters long, wide, and rounded. It looks like someone put eyes on a toilet seat that wants to eat you. Just look at the nearly 40 razor-sharp teeth in its jaw. Koolasuchus cleelandi mostly fed on fish and shellfish. But here is the strangest fact. This nightmare amphibian could also hunt small to medium-sized dinosaurs, such as small ornithopods like Leia. It is an absolute savage ambush predator. But the more interesting question is this: how did they survive amongst the crocodiles that ruled the waters of the early Cretaceous? Back then, these regions were within the Antarctic Circle, and the weather was very cold. Since crocodiles are intolerant to the cold, they had left those areas. So, Koolasuchus cleelandi reigned in the rivers until about 110 million years ago. But as soon as the weather warmed up, the crocodiles returned. Entering into competition with Koolasuchus, the crocodiles either ate them or stole their food supply, and thus the end of these amphibians had come. We've added the first creature to our collection. The second creature is ducks. No, not this one. This giant mutant demon ducks. Their scientific name is Dromornithidae. They roamed Australia 34 million years ago. One of the largest species, Dromornithidae, stood 9.8 feet tall and weighed 1,250 pounds. It is a contender for the title of the heaviest bird in history. For comparison, let me tell you, demon duck is heavier than New Zealand's giant moa and Madagascar's elephant bird. They possessed very strong, massive beaks. Whether they were carnivores or herbivores is controversial, but we know for sure these creatures were flightless birds and couldn't run fast, but one kick. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Their legs are terrifyingly strong. In fact, when humans arrived in Australia, this species, called Genyornis newtoni, was still wandering around. They were a bit shorter, standing about 6.5 feet tall. If you look closely, you'll see a shiny, helmet-like bony protrusion on its head called a casque. They used it to attract females and also lived monogamous lives. How romantic. Archaeological excavations, however, reveal some strange things. 50,000 years ago, humans were cooking and eating the large eggs of demon ducks. Burn marks have been found on the eggshells. We have no proof that humans actively hunted these ducks, but it seems that by stealing their eggs, we played a part in their extinction. Now, we move on to living proof of Australian mythology. This snake is named Wonambi naracoortensis. In the legends of the local Aborigines, it appears as a terrifying entity known as the rainbow serpent. This is a giant snake reaching lengths of 19 feet with the thickness of a tree trunk. What made Wonambi disturbing wasn't its venom. It didn't have any. It was a true constrictor. Wonambi would hide silently by the water's edge, and in an instant, snatch kangaroos or careless humans coming to drink, wrap its body around them, and squeeze until it heard the crack of bones. However, Wonambi didn't have a large jaw to swallow its victim. That's why it tried to trap smaller animals. The Wonambi snake went extinct 50,000 years ago, meaning our ancestors were forced to come face to face with this nightmare as well. Aw, what is this? A cute little turtle. Excuse me, This giant turtle is Meolania. This genus existed in Australia from 16 million years ago up until 3,000 years ago, meaning when the pyramids were being built, species of this genus were still alive. Meolania differs greatly from modern turtles. The horns on its skull, its armored shells, spiked tails, and body size. For example, the Meolania you see here is 6.6 feet long, and it is one of the largest armored turtles ever found. However, scientists don't know exactly which species of Meolania this is. They were grazers, and because of their large armored heads, they couldn't fully withdraw them into their shells. Most Mealania fossils were discovered on Australia's Lord Howe Island, and a small portion on the mainland itself. There are theories about how they got to the islands, suggesting that when water levels were low, they crossed over on tree rafts. However, when the Ice Age ended, water levels rose. The shrinking of the islands and the decrease in food were among the factors that brought about the end of the Mealanias. But archaeological excavations show that we humans used to hunt these turtles, and this was one of the reasons for their extinction. But have you ever heard of dinosaurs that lived only in Australia? One of these is Australovenator wintonensis, or by its nickname, banjo. It is the largest carnivorous dinosaur ever found in Australia, standing 5 feet tall, a full 19 feet long, and weighing between 650 to 1,100 pounds. If you somehow faced Australovenator, trying to run would be pointless because they can move at speeds of 30 miles per hour. However, the scariest part about it is something else. Its hands were armed with claws reaching 30 centimeters in length, the same as a school ruler. Scientists think that banjo would hug its victims with these claws, going stabby-stabby. Which lineage Australovenator wintonensis belongs to is controversial. Some scientists say it is a relative of Carcharodontosaurus and Giganotosaurus. Others say it is a relative of T-Rex. When we say crocodile, water bodies and crawling come to mind. However, Quincana is different from all other crocodiles. It lived about 24 million years ago in the Miocene epoch. Quincana's long, powerful legs make it more terrifying than all other crocodiles. The largest species, Quincana fortyrostrum, reached lengths of 20 feet, running around like a horse. This savage was one of Australia's largest land predators. Other crocodiles hide in the water, waiting for their prey to come. Quincana, on the other hand, hunted actively. Its teeth were not conical. They were curved and sharp, like a saw. Its teeth were no different from a meat grinder. Quincana went extinct 40,000 years ago. There are depictions of this animal in ancient Aboriginal rock paintings, meaning our ancestors came face to face with these animals too. Truly, our ancestors went through some very hard days. In Australia, you need to look around carefully, especially at the trees. The animal staring at you from the branch is Thylacoleo carnifex. It is the largest carnivorous mammal Australia has ever seen. The species ruled during the Pleistocene epoch. Looking at Thylacoleo, you might say it belongs to the cat family, but that's not the case. Thylacoleo carnifex's family tree traces back to herbivorous wombats and koalas. That is why it is also called the marsupial lion. In terms of size, it is about the size of a jaguar, and thanks to its very strong tail, this marsupial lion could sit upright on its hind legs, leaning on its tail like a kangaroo. Because of this, it could hug and tear apart enemies with its front hands, thanks to its large clawed thumbs. Thylacoleo carnifex's jaw's bite force is the same as a male African lion, meaning if you put your head in that mouth, it will explode like a watermelon. But unlike African lions, it doesn't have large canine teeth. Instead, it has 2 giant rabbit teeth in the front. It looks funny, but the real nightmare is those premolar teeth on the side of Thylacoleo carnifex's mouth. They effectively function as bolt cutters. Another creature our ancestors witnessed is this terrifying, gigantic Megalania. This monster stepped onto the stage about 1.5 million years ago. Scientists are still arguing about its size. One says 23 feet, another says no, 29 feet, and some even claim 36 feet. Consequently, its weight estimates vary wildly, ranging from 700 pounds up to a massive 4,000 pounds. Whatever the case, the fact is, Megalania is the largest lizard to ever walk the earth. Its arms were massive, its teeth curved and very sharp. Don't think that Megalania ran after animals at high speed. It was heavy and relied on ambush. Megalania is a close relative of the Komodo dragon. Undoubtedly, it was venomous, possessing special venom ducts between its teeth. But Megalania didn't inject venom like a snake. It was nastier. First, it would bite the victim, tearing off the flesh, and let the venom flow into the wound. Its venom is a hemotoxin, meaning it prevents the blood from clotting and stops the wound from healing. As you can see, Australia's past was even scarier, crazier, and more terrifying than its modern nature. If you like this, subscribe, because even better researched videos are still ahead. Goodbye!